welcome everyone to Ala Lelei, or The Good Way, where we talk about the gospel, share stories, and learn Samoan. My name is Brian. I'm here from Arizona.
Hey everybody, I'm Bob. I'm coming from the mighty state of Louisiana.
Joey. I'm coming from the great country of Texas.
Greatest country in the world. I'm Kyle. I am currently calling in from Utah.
Perfect. And with that, I think we'll get started. Whoever wants to get us started off, I think we got a topic this week, so we'll get into it.
Let me first give a little background. So this is our first recording for 2026. We've been trying to get it going, but something always happens here and there. But what I wanted to share real quick was Kyle and Brian, they got together and they wanted to learn Samoan. And then I stumbled onto them. This is back in 2024. I stumbled onto their meeting accidentally. And as I was leaving, they said, "Wait, you're a native speaker. Why don't you join us?" And that was November of 2024. And we've been doing it for about a year now, a little over a year. So 2025, last year we hit a year, but we miss every now and again. But what we've been doing was we've been learning Samoan, and we got to a point where Brian ended up teaching me. It was really funny because there was a lot of grammatical stuff that we were trying to learn. I was trying to learn. I'd never gone through that. And so Brian was teaching it to us. We had to learn the English portion so that we can learn the Samoan part. So that's where it kind of landed. But as every time we talked, we always talked about things that we learned, like the gospel of Jesus Christ. And then we wanted to just put together something that that's more positive. There's a lot of negativity in the world, but there's positive. We want to add to the positivity. So that's how this came to be, and we thought we'll just brand it Ala Lelei, which is the good way. And then and Bob joined us because him and his wife have decided to make a goal, or they have a goal to learn Samoan. So that's where we are today. I want to start with something that we talked about last week, and that is Brian reiterated this is a Samoan idiom, but at the same time it's used in the everywhere. So it goes like this: "Ole ala ile pule ole tautua." That's a Samoan phrase, which translates into "the path to leadership is service." And so for that, in Samoa, to give you a little bit of context, and for those of you who may not know, I was born and raised in Samoa, but I've been in America now for about 30 years, a little over. And when I grew up, there was a lot of things that I didn't realize my parents were teaching me. I'll be honest, I didn't like it, right? So I'll give you an example. So in Samoa, the kids eat last. And there were 8 of us kids, and then my parents, and then we had the missionaries. They lived right next to us, so we usually feed the missionaries. Every time we had dinner and we would have the missionaries, I loved feeding the missionaries. And you know why? Because we always had good food. We always had bisupo. Not always, but bisupo or something that's always really good. So I loved feeding the missionaries. But the problem is, too, when we fed the missionaries, was that we ate last. Me. And I'm usually the one that cooks the food. In Samoa, the men do the cooking. And they always cheer about that. And I said, that's also why I left Samoa, came to America. So whenever they made the food, the first thing my parents would do, my mom would say, "Okay, hey, abeleme aile fale," which means take this plate of food to our neighbors, and I'll take it. And I'm like, I already knew we had little food. The missionaries are coming, but now I got to take this food and shared it with the other family. So I went and I took it. I'm grumbling the whole time, and I come back, and then the missionaries come. Well, the missionaries got very used to it. When they're eating, they would eat sparingly, because they knew that there was still us that needed to eat. And my mom would say, "Eat." And I'm sitting there, I'm like, oh. But the missionaries, they knew that we were, because a lot of them were Samoan. And so they ate sparingly. At the end, there was always enough food. Right? But as I got older, that's a simple principle that I realized that my parents were teaching us, that we not always need to serve. And the reason we ate last was because we always served. We're the ones that we would bring more food, and then we would what do you call that? We swat the flies. It's called fuefue. Fuefue just means we sit there and guard the food from the flies, and we this with our hand. So the plate of food is over here, and we just go like this. We have something to. It's usually a banana leaf. We're using like this to wave off the flies, and then people are eating, and that's what we're doing. We're serving. Not only do we bring more food, but we are guarding it from the from the flies. But that's a simple thing that my parents taught us, that ole ala i le pule o le tautua, which is the path to leadership is service. And then another thing that's in the Samoan culture. But then from the church perspective, my mom used to tell me, well, not just me, but us, she says, I'm raising you to be leaders. I'm raising you to be leaders in the church. And she would say, I don't want you to be backseat churchgoers. And she didn't mean sitting in the back seat, but she just meant she wanted us to go and serve. And so as I was bringing up my kids, I would say to them, I'm teaching you, I'm bringing you up to be leaders. I used to say that to my kids, but one crazy thing now, but my older kids have left, and my youngest son is home. And as I was saying this to him last year, he said, but Dad, what if I'm not called, what if I don't get called as a bishop? And I realized I needed to go deeper with him. And I said to him, oh, I'm not training you to be a bishop. I'm training you to serve. If you get called to be a bishop or to be a elders quorum president, that's inadvertent, and that's because you serve. But I'm not trying to teach you to be a bishop. I'm teaching you to serve. And then I told him that to be a bishop is to serve. And then we went through the scripture that, and you've done it unto the least of these, my brethren, you've done it unto me. And I told him that to serve is to lead, and to lead in the church is to serve. So, man, that was a long-winded thing, but I'll stop there.
When you said that last part, it made me laugh, because when I was called to be the Elders Quorum president in one of my YSA wards, so like after my mission, and then moving out to Utah and going to school, I had some that I didn't struggle going to church. The church was still true to me. I struggled going to second hour because if you've ever spent a long time in a YSA ward, it's a little rough sometimes. It's very performative, in my opinion.
Hot take.
But is he wrong?
My hot take, YSA ward.
We love hot takes.
But that's just me. Anyway, I was struggling being present in our ward, and for me it was hard because I'd recently come home from my mission where, you're in full-time service, and I wanted to be active in the ward, but it was hard because the things that I would go to, like I'd go to FHE and the activities and stuff, and there'd be like 12 people, and I was like, it's really hard to be active in a ward that's not active to me. And so I had one of my roommates got called, or had a calling. I think he was in the High Council at the time or something. And I had it was towards the end of the year, and I kind of made a goal for myself going forward that I wanted to take steps to be more active in the ward, right? Because I can't expect everybody to show up to the activity and then for me to go. Somebody's got to take the first step. So I was like, in my head, I wanted a calling, especially like a second hour calling that would help me go to second hour and be active. And we had been in the ward for maybe 7 months, and I didn't have a calling at all. And so I had just gone up to the bishop at one of our activities, and I was like, Bishop, I know this isn't really how it works, but like as you're looking to put people in callings, I'd like to put my name out there. Like pretty much I was like, I really want a calling. So I just I know you will figure it out, but I'd like to make sure my name is towards the top of your list. And he says, okay, yeah, great. And just a month goes by, and then I got a text. It was like, hey, my name is blah, blah, blah from I'm the stake executive secretary. Will you meet with President Tuller, who was our stake president at the time? And I was like, the stake president does not meet with a lot of people individually for many callings, as far as I know. And that was kind of right around the time too that it had been out before, and then it kind of went into more effect. And our stake was really implementing YSA members in the bishopric. So I was getting really nervous, and I was like, oh my gosh, I just asked for a calling. I was hoping he'd give me Sunday school teacher or something like that, And that's when they called me to be the Elders Quorum president. And that one was really a calling of service in our ward. I definitely met with a lot of people that I wasn't necessarily aware of their circumstances before. We lived kind of west of BYU, and if you're familiar with the area at all, it's very much so like the area that we were in is like older, typically graduated or nigh unto graduated YSA members, and so a lot of them are like, I mean, one of the members in our ward was a registered nurse and had been working for like 4 years. And so like I met with a lot of people. We also had a big group of Congolese students on international visas who spoke French and were mostly learning English. And so I was kind of gifted with a unique opportunity for service and to kind of see the different people in our ward for their circumstances. And I think the Elders Quorum president and Relief Society president have a unique perspective in seeing the reality of what people are living, you know? So I think that's just a funny one where it's like, even though I was willing to serve and I was kind of hoping for a starter role to get me more active in the ward, and they just jumped straight to Elders Quorum president. But I think learning the service aspect all over again, because I was like, I'm off my mission. Like I know how the church is, I know how people are, and I know how to serve. But it's always like it's a constant game of learning service in the church, I think.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Bob had something to say too as well, and then
I did.
Go to Brian.
I was wondering on the spelling for the phrase that you said earlier that Grandma Palmer used to say all the time.
Ala Lelei.
That's the one.
Okay. Let me put it in the. Can you share it?
Yeah, I was just going to drop it in the chat really quick.
Okay, I'll do that. And then also share the.
Bob, you can see the chat?
Yes, sir.
Okay, drop it in there.
Okay,
Sweet.
Put it in there really quick, and then.
So I'm pretty sure we have the document. I just have to pull it up on the Googles.
Yeah, it looks like
really quick.
it's shared to you.
Yeah, so no worries on that part. If that is one of the phrases on there, I haven't been able to go through it yet, but I will.
Absolutely.
Eventually.
Okay, Brian, what were you going to say?
Yeah, so I was going to add on a little bit about the callings and service. I feel like that's probably our topic tonight, which is pretty good. We all have a lot of experience with that. I'll definitely add some thoughts that I had about when you said, Brother P, about, I believe it was Kavana saying, it's like, oh, what if I'm not a bishop, right? It's like, the first question to ask is like, oh, is that the only important calling? What else is there? Are all callings important? And I think those are some questions we can ask ourselves, because I had some of that attitude. I'll kind of talk a little bit about my own experience. I remember I was called to be a primary music leader in Utah. One of my first callings after being married up there. And, I felt like, I was like, oh my gosh, I could be doing so much more, right? That was my immediate thoughts. And then I was talking to my beautiful wife, Taylor, and she was like, well, what do you mean? Like, you think you could be doing something else? It's like, is this not important? Are those kids not worthy of your time and your energy and your preparation? And so eventually, I was like, yeah, I really need to change my attitude about that. And throughout my whole life, I've held a lot of music callings. And, every once in a while, I'm reminded of how important it is to do well in those callings, because people rely on your playing for Sacrament. People feel the Spirit through music. And so I wanted to share some verses along those lines, kind of what we were talking about. And it's in 1 Corinthians chapter 12. And we'll start at, let me see. First, I think, 20. We'll just say like verse 21. And it says, and the eye cannot say unto the hand, I have no need of thee, nor again the head to the feet, I have no need of you. Nay, much more those members of the body which seem to be more feeble are necessary. And those members of the body, which we think to be less honorable, upon these we bestow more abundant honor, and our uncomely parts have more abundant comeliness. And so I would like to definitely say on that is that all the callings in the church are necessary. We all need to be able to dedicate our lives even to a calling that we think so insignificant, because let's say you're in the primary, and if you're called as a teacher, well, how wonderful that you were placed as a steward to their education in their early times. Even if they don't remember much, there's still important moments. And I can say that as a music leader and a primary pianist, and growing up, that people always remember if you say, I'm trying to be like Jesus. Everyone knows that. I am a child of God. We can all remember those, and that those learning experiences started when we were young. And so I'd like to add that perspective from primary and music.
I love that. It made me think. I'm with the young men now, and I was talking with one of the boys who I think he had a very similar disposition to me when I was a deacon. It was something like we had to set up chairs or something along those lines, where it's the administrative grunt work that typically gets assigned to the young men. And he was kind of having the same grumble, like, oh, like this is so, like, I should be doing something better. And it made me think of the scripture in Doctrine and Covenants 122:8, where it says, the Son of Man hath descended below them all. Art thou greater than he? And it was like kind of a call out moment. Even in the scriptures, in that case, it was like kind of a call out moment. It's like Jesus Christ suffered and through the atonement descended below all. He suffered every one of our sins, temptations, weaknesses, frailties, ailments, inferiorities, and insecurities. Like, he knows what it's like, and he still took the time not only to complete the atonement, but he took the time to serve and minister to the one while he was alive. And then, obviously, since being resurrected, like, you think you're better than that? Go set up some chairs. Like,
Absolutely. And I think to the people that have many talents, who may have the biggest feelings of ego, and he's like, if you are great, then serve. Be the servant of others, because you have the ability to do that for others. We can see that in Matthew 20, and it's in verse 26. It says, but it shall not be so among you, but whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister, and whosoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant.
Can you guys hear me right now?
Yeah,
No?
now we can.
Okay, yeah. I forgot to clear my throat. So I love what you guys have shared. And if you go to Bob, I think you're in here too now, right? If you guys go to the September 17th, while you guys are going there, I want to share something. I want to share a story with you guys. And I knew this young kid when he was called to be the Deacons Quorum president. He walked into the house. This is just a story that I'm sharing with everyone.
Not related to anyone at all. It's a parable.
He walks into the house and said, I am the Deacons Quorum president. Kiss my toe. Says it to the other people in the house. And we're like, oh. And for me, though, even though it was funny and a joke, I'm seeing today what, and I'm trying to teach my son, Govana, right now. I'm trying to teach him that many of the kids that serve in church are serving as a name-only calling. Let me explain what I mean by that. When you are the Deacons Quorum president, only thing you really do, in their minds, the only thing you really do is you say, okay, welcome everyone to Deacons Quorum. Can I get a volunteer to say the prayer? And then crickets, crickets, crickets. And then after that, one of the leaders finally says, I'll say it. And then it's the same person every week that volunteers. And then after that, when the lesson ends, he goes, can I get a volunteer to say the prayer, closing prayer? And so I'm trying to teach my son, that's what I call a leader by name only. So my son the same son, Kovana, just got called to be the Teachers Quorum president, right? And I asked him, I said, what training did you receive? He goes, not really. And I said, so what is your role? And he says, I don't know, just prepare the sacrament. I said, okay. So I sat him down and we had a training, and I said, from here on out until you are released from this calling, your role, you have two main roles. Number one is you need to make sure that the bishop never has to worry about the sacrament being prepared before sacrament starts. And the ward now starts at 9 o'clock. So I told him, you should cover the sacrament bread and water. You should cover it by 8:55 at the latest. I said, ideally 8:50, but 8:55 is the latest. And I said, and number two, the other role that you have is you should never let Bishop worry about bread on Sunday. And I said, that means you need to create a rotation of who brings the bread. And then you, being the president, now have to let everyone, you need to remind people. I said, you remember when I would ask you, who's got the bread, last year? And he said, I don't know. And I said, what you're calling your secretary? Teachers Quorum secretary. And I said, you should be the one that's reminding people. But now that he's the president, and I said, right now, the information comes from you. And since you don't have a secretary, you need to use technology to be your secretary, which is that spreadsheet, the bread rotation and who's teaching the lesson. And I said, but now you have to remind people to bring the bread. Let them know on Wednesday, let them know on Saturday or Friday, because so that they have time to get the bread. Let them know on Saturday, and then on Sunday morning again. By 7:30, you should let them know. And he goes, okay. And I said, that is a service or a leader, not by name only. I said, because if you are a leader by name only, you're one of those guys that when I ask, what's your role? I don't know. What do you do? I call on someone to pray. But I told him, and this is what I've told my kids, I'm teaching you to be a leader. This is your missionary training center, so that when you arrive on your mission, you know how to lead. That you will be asked to do something, you know what to do, you know how to do it. When you get to a ward that don't have enough people to pass a sacrament, you know to step up and pass a sacrament. You get to a ward that they don't have enough people, or a branch. I served in a branch of 28 members. My companion and I would bless the sacrament, and then one of us would step down and pass the sacrament with the only young man there. And then after that, we would go and sit with the branch president on the stand, and we would rotate giving talks. Me, the branch president, his wife, my companion, and the Relief Society president, and the Elders Quorum president. Those were the six of us that took turns saying, giving talks, right? And so I said, I'm teaching you so that you will learn what to do and know what to do when you go on your mission or when you get anywhere else. And the same thing, right? And I said this to Kyle as well. I said, which is what you've done, Brian, is when you get to a ward on your mission and no one knows how to play the piano, go play the piano. You need to step up. And that's, what your wife said, right, Brian? You think this is not important? That ward or that branch that was 28 members, guess who was the pianist too?
Was it you?
And we would sing I Am a Child of God almost every Sunday. That's the only song I knew how to play.
That's absolutely wonderful.
So you need to lead, and you need to step up and lead whatever it is. It does not matter whether it's a Teachers Quorum president or a piano player or a music leader. Hey, you get these little guys that joined us. Hi, Neil. Hi, Bert.
Crazy. Say alofa.
Alofa.
Karate.
All right, no worries. Okay, so are you guys all on that page that I mentioned?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, it was actually September 24th. Did I say 24th or 17th? I said
17th.
Okay, we can stay there. Stay there.
I'm on the 24th now.
Oh, okay. It's easy. Okay, let's go to 24th. I'd like you guys to be on the 24th because I want to review those words. So these are some of the words, and Brian, or not Brian, Bob Alicious. So these are some of the words that we've learned, but I can guarantee you that we've forgotten. And I say we, I'm including everyone in the universe. We've forgotten these words because we haven't learned them. And to prove it, I'm going to say, everyone get out of there, and I'm going to ask questions. Hey, who's got big muscles? That guy was flexing. Oh, yeah.
Going, look at my owies. Look at my owies.
Hey,
okay.
I'll say too before you jump into that parable that you were sharing. It sounded like a guy who was, very wise in his leadership and was giving others a chance to serve and learn the path to leadership. So, two good things.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree. That guy was a good guy and still is a good guy.
Very wise.
Okay. Are you guys all there right now?
Yes, we are.
You said get out of the 24th?
I'll be in the 24th. Get out of the 17th. So, yeah. I don't want you guys to look. I'm going to test you guys. We're going to go through some words. But Bob is here. Bob hasn't learned these words yet.
Brand new, fresh baby.
Yeah, brand new. Okay, so I don't worry. I'm not going to worry about the imperfective or perfective. I just want to learn the words. Okay, so we're just going to do the imperfective is where we're going to start. Okay, so Brian and Kyle, don't be looking at these words. Okay, but okay. Bob is the only one that can look. I'm going to test Brian and Kyle. Okay, ready?
Okay.
I'm going to start with a word that's not even on there just to test you guys. Tatalo.
Prayer.
Ooh. I like how Brian was trying to use it to make it come to him, and Kyle was like prayer. Aw.
I had
Very
to,
wise, one might
engage
say.
the gears.
The wise guy right there. Okay. All right. Next word. Iloa.
To know.
Ooh.
Are we switching off, or are we just supposed to shout it out?
Shout it out.
Okay,
Shout it
all right.
out.
Sorry, if we're supposed to
I
switch off
do know
again,
that one.
I was just a winner, and so I just had a winner mentality. You know.
I'm just giving you the chance to serve us by your,
Wow,
with your
you're
knowledge.
you were very wise. You're very
Okay.
wise.
Thank you.
All right. This one's for Bob. Bob only.
Oh.
Itai. Itai.
Never heard that word before.
Right. One of these guys.
Kyle, I'll give you the chance to serve.
Bob is the third word from the
difficult?
bottom.
Oh yeah,
No,
it is one of those guys.
Difficult is fangata.
He's the lead. Sorry, I was trying to be one of these smart guys that knows all the words.
Yeah.
Like,
Okay. It's Bob said it.
What did he say? What is it?
To lead.
To lead.
And the reason I did that is because we were talking about leadership, so to lead, or this one also means to be a leader. So if you are leading a service, you would say sa tai tai. But if you are the leader, you'd also say wa tai tai. Okay. All right.
I
Next
need to
word.
serve a little bit more.
Yeah, I think she is. All right. Next word. Ready? Fight out. Fight out.
Oh, I know this one.
Fight
how do
out.
To
this is a hint.
read?
To read. Bob, all these words are in there, and I'm mixing it up so that just in case these guys are looking, but I know you guys aren't looking, right?
No,
the good guys aren't looking.
That's right.
All right, cool.
Big muscle
Bob
guys.
can
So
The servants.
I've actually been doing this one in. Hey, 1 second. I've been doing this one in. 1 second, guys. Whoa. In the Embark app, and I was always wondering why they would show Faitao and Faitawina, and they would both just be to read. And I was like,
Yeah.
what do you mean it's just to read? You can't just have two words that mean the exact same thing in the very beginning. But that makes sense now.
Absolutely.
Anyway, that's my soapbox.
No, that's good. That's good. I was just going to say, Brian, explain. So, Faitawina is the perfective, which is what again?
So, perfective is basically an action that is seen as complete or whole, and it does not mean just in the past. This is past, present, or future. And so, imperfective is basically an incomplete, habitual, or ongoing action. For example, imperfective, I was running. That's an ongoing, that's not a complete action.
Awesome. Okay, so now for the next one, I'm going to say the word. You guys figure out the English word, and then Bob, you give me the perfective word. Okay, I'm going to use the imperfective. These guys give me the English. You give me the perfective. Okay, here we go. Wow. We just did this last week.
Is it
I-
wow?
I was
learn.
To learning. What the heck am I saying? To learn.
It's to learning for the people who bring. It's good things.
I'm speaking real Samoan there.
You are. Yeah.
Perspective is
Okay.
Wawina.
Oh, we not. Excellent.
Very good.
Okay, we'll go to the next one. Tatala.
Talk or speak. Tatala?
Yeah, what you're saying is tautala, but the word I'm saying is tatala.
Tatala. Tatala.
Tala,
This one is fleeting to open.
open. Okay. Open. Good job. All right.
Alaina.
Tatalaina. Okay, good. Okay, next one is malolo. Malolo.
Malolo.
Malolo.
Malolo.
Wow. Malolo. When I go lay down. Oh, I'm not sleeping, but I'm just taking a
To rest?
rest.
Ah.
Yes, to rest. Okay.
Thank you for serving us by giving us actions that we can see and guess.
Hey,
What a tight tight.
here. Up on the other side.
What a leader.
Where's the perfective? One of you guys say the perfective. You,
Maloloina.
Maloloina. Good, good. Okay. Next word is
Start.
oh, yeah. Very good. Okay. All right, Kyle and Bob, what's the perfective? Mataina. Good. Okay.
So
Next word. Go
question.
ahead. Yeah.
Oh, never mind. I read further on the list. Question
Okay.
answered.
All right. Excellent. All right. I'm going to the next one. Sauni.
Prepare.
Sauni.
Saudi.
Prepare.
Oh, to prepare.
To prepare. Okay. And then what's the perfective?
Saunia.
Saunia. So this
That's
one,
the-
yeah. So the reason why these two boxes are separated is because the top one, the suffix is INA, and then the bottom one, the suffix is just the letter A. So Saunia, they just add the A to it at the end. So that's for everyone to know. Okay. Let's do 2 more words. Ready? The next word is tapuni.
Again?
Tapuni. Oh, did you guys not hear me? Sorry. Tapuni.
Heard you, but I
Tapuni.
just don't know.
I heard you now, and I don't know.
It's the opposite of tatala.
To close.
Close.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and then what's the perfective word?
Tapunia.
Tapunia. Okay. Yep. Good. And then the last one is tusi. Not the noun. This is a verb. Tusi. Do you guys know it?
Oh,
as
to
noun?
write. To write.
Good. Right. And then what's the perfective?
To see ya.
Tusi. Yeah. Good. Good. Okay. All right. So I think that's just a good little review. And the reason I went there is because I wanted to. So just the word leader, I saw it there, and I wanted to use that just because of our discussion. But anything else you guys want to add before we close?
We should write something down for this. Like
Should have had something written down.
I wanted to give you guys an opportunity to serve.
Oh,
You're right.
Write something down for me. Well, thanks guys for coming and learning Ala Lelei with us. We're definitely working on the structure and creating topics and things like that, but it's a work in progress, as is our learning, and as our learning of the church and the gospel too. So with that, Tofa.
Go far.
Before